Hello everybody and welcome to the final round of your Simraceway midweek World Touring Car Championship. It's been a long road down to this one. The heats yesterday provided some emphatic ratings, some surprising results, and a prospect of one of the best season finales for a midweek championship in the history of Simraceway. We're running the Zandvoort reverse layout here today, 13 laps of the legendary circuit, and the WTCC field make their way down into the first corner. Very shortly the lights go out now. V13's on pole. He's got a good launch off the line. Same story, Morning Glory. Findle in the BMW in third, gets a fantastic launch and follows his BMW colleague into the first corner. So it's a BMW 1-2 after the opening corner. Then an army of Volvos with a Chevrolet mixed in amongst them of Diamondback there. He's side by side with Lazarus at the moment, down in P7. Made their way through turn 2 at the moment. You can see Garnshad trying to hold on to his best, or best line at least. Very difficult corner to get right. One abreast, let alone 2 or 3. But they will snake their way through the opening chicane. And Lazarus almost loses control. He's able to get the car back on circuit again. So not an ideal start for him, obviously. Now, drivers in their last round of the championship. Some will have had a great series, others not so great. Will want to reprimand themselves here today and make sure they leave with the highest of heads. Bearing in mind there's no broadcast this Sunday. The start of the Winter Championships will start next weekend. So this is the last bit of competitive action they will get in terms of a championship until next week. So they want to make it count. They want to go out with a bang and really want to leave it all on the tarmac here at Zandvoort. Halfway through the first lap, B1386 still in firm control with Findle just behind in second. He's to the inside, not quite. Baxagaber though, giving him a real challenge, isn't he, in the Volvo. Then Dimitri Giannopoulos, the established keyboard racer, sits just behind the Mr. PA, looking to cut and dive underneath. Can he get to the outside? Oh no, he's going to try everything he can. Brakes early, and that's just not quite enough through there, is it? Garnshad looking to maybe capitalise on Mr. PA's abundance there, and now look at Findle slipstream in B13, trying to pull away from Baxagaber in third. BMWs have done quite nicely there, using each other as a bit of a bump draft through the opening corner. I think it's two NASCAR drivers as opposed to two BMW 320s. Look at this as well, it's very, very intense. The front three positions all dueling away. PA still trying to navigate his way through. Renault in P8. Now that is interesting. That is the Chevrolet that's actually dispersed Luke Sky and company. So he's in between two groups of Volvos at the moment. So got rid of one of them. And look at the five jostling behind there. 3 abreast almost. If Diamondback could get that big wide Chevy to the outside, he's not able to. It was almost 4 wide. And Luke Sky drifting through, and he's gone a bit too wide. If he'd have made that stick, that would have been move of the decade. He couldn't quite get it to go. And he sinks down to a lonely 14th position as the race starts to set into its tone now. Luke Sky will be doing everything he can to push his way back through the order after a disappointing opening couple of laps then. Talking of opening couple of laps, how are things faring at the front of the field? The top 3 now 2.3 seconds away from Dimitri in 4th. Now B13 goes in towards the final corner for the second time. Still a BMW 1-2. The Volvo Baxagaber in third, staying with them. Hasn't really mounted a real challenge just yet. And we saw the same story, of course, in the midweek heats yesterday. Both BMWs got the supreme launches off the line. And in turn, it didn't really last long though. There was a bit of lap 2 terror. The most of them, they all got spun round and ended up fighting their way back through the order. Many of them didn't make the finale here today. The ones that have, though, really are putting their name to the claim, aren't they? Roddy Racer there and Engange looking to try and draw themselves a bit closer as well. The Chevy of Renault trying to pull away. We'll keep an eye on Renault's lap times, actually. Could well be a driver to keep an eye on if he can maybe manoeuvre his way up the order a bit. We'll see what kind of pace that Chevrolet Cruze does have in relation to the Volvos. It's definitely going to be intriguing to say the least. Diamond back there trying to go up the inside of Tomcat. Will be on the outside for the next corner. Tomcat and the Chevrolet, obviously trying to prove to us exactly how much power that Chevrolet's got, and quite a bit of dominance there. Tomcat almost lost control. And then two Volvo side by side there as Luke Sky and Tomcat do battle. Luke Sky picking up the scraps of what WTTNN left over. Now Noddy Racer and Engange set to do a bit of war in P6, P5. P6, P7, I beg your pardon. Let's see what Noddy Racer's got in his tank then as they make their way down the main straight once again. Is he able to get into that slipstream or no? It's very, very close between the two drivers, isn't it, as we take a look back as to what our two race leaders are doing then. So it is still two BMWs that head the field. Grafindel goes a little bit scenic there over the grass, and back to Gaber following suit the very next corner. So BMW from BMW, Volvo in third here as we enter the fourth lap. So drivers still trying to settle down into that rhythm, but in a series where I call it's completely open, anybody can enter this championship, and it's an open setup as well, which is what makes it different from our 2011 WTCC endeavour, which saw some breathtaking racing, no doubt about it. Warner's back to Gaber, got up his sleeve though in third. Is he going to be able to part the Red Sea and get his Volvo in hunt for the race lead? The longer he stays behind Grafindel, the easier B13 pulls away. I mean, in lap number one, lap number two, Grafindel looked so eager to try and take the lead from B13, but the pole-sitting BMW has since set a remarkable couple of laps here around the Zandvoort circuit. B13 still leads, then it's Grafindel, then back to Gaber. Dimitri in P4, P5 Mr. PA, 6th in Ganj. So the Volvo's heading over the start finish line now. Lap times then for the last time: B13 at 1:42.1, a 1:42.4 from Grafindel, 42.4 from Baxo, 42.9 from Dimitri. A few 43s, a 1:42.9 there from Lazarus. So Lazarus in 9th is making a bit of progress. We'll see if he can maybe catch Renault before this race comes to a close. Renault and the Chevrolet having broken away previously. But look at the front three, still so close. And you can't really underestimate anyone in this battle though. It could still prove to be a vital role. Look at this though. Engange, Noddy Racer, Renault, Lazarus, Ragster, all sort of settling down, and a little bit of a three-way battle there. Tomcat leads from Luke Sky and WTTN, and no retirements yet here on lap 5 out of 13. All the drivers being very consistent, which has been great, bearing in mind it's open setup, so all the drivers do tend to be a bit riskier in the way they set up their car in order to try and get an advantage over their opponents. They'll make it slightly less grippy to get more kick out of the corners, they'll have a lot less downforce or something. We can see some quite interesting results. Another lap complete. Grafindel actually quicker than the race leader there. But Noddy's still holding strong in 7th after Renault is pulled away. And again, just keep an eye on that Chevrolet as well. It may very well move its way through the field. It is catching Noddy Racer, but not at the speed he likes to. We are approaching the half race distance now. When he goes a bit wide, that is going to play very, very well into the hands of Renault. So B13 just taking a look back at how Graffindel's faring. Bear in mind he was quicker last lap, making their way through the final corner now. Let's just try and keep our eyes focused on exactly what that BMW is doing. The Paulson BMW pushing its way through. And it's now 142.2, and it's 2/10 slower than what B13 did, a 142.0. Baxagame just behind them, starting to slip away gradually, but a 142 flat shows us otherwise. So whilst that Volvo not really a prominent feature in the battle, it is catching them regardless. Dimitri in 4th, starting to put some time between himself and Mr. P8. Engange in 5th with a big slide. 7th there, Noddy Racer. 8th is Renault, and he is gaining on them now. So he said that Noddy was losing time, went wide a couple of corners. Renault starting to punish them now and reel them in very, very quickly indeed. Bouncing over the chicane. And now let's just see, it'll be Chevy versus 2 Volvos. Has Renault got what it takes here in the final round? Is he going to have that sudden spur of motivation? Now look how close he is getting, and Ganj actually holding Noddy Racer up, which is not what he needs. Renault reeling them in like a fisherman at the moment. So Renault very much focused on the task in hand here as they make their way down through the last few corners. And out of the final corner comes B13 once again. So still leading here is a BMW duo. B13 a 142.1, a 142.4 from Grafindel, 142.3 from Baxagame. So much more reminiscent of the times that we expected as we go over the line at 142.8, 143.4 for PA, 143.6 for Engange, and that's been equalled by Renault as well. So Renault actually a bit slower than expected there. Noddy Racer 143.3, so 3/10 slower. Down through the left-hander, and I'll tell you what, Renault's actually got to be careful because Lazarus set quite a good lap last time by, and is now actually maybe trying to give Renault something else to worry about. Bearing in mind that Renault in that lone Chevrolet at the moment has got to try and really focus on the 2 Volvos ahead. If he doesn't, he's going to get reeled in very, very quickly by Lazarus, and look how much he's already gaining now. This has become much less of a concept and much more of an ideology, because look at this now, diving through towards our left-hander. We can even see a 4-way battle at the moment. If we're not careful, Lazarus is really starting to put the hammer down in the second half of this race, and we've seen that many times before as well. Very much a second half racer here. As soon as he gets after half race distance, he knows that he's established his own race really, and how much he needs to push to get a position. No point racing like you've got to win the thing if you could burn yourself out and really the points don't matter. So now he's very much aware he could easily get a top 5 here if he's lucky. And if all the other results go his way into the final corner, go to 3 again. A quick rain check on what's going on up front. B13 141.9, exquisite lap there by the race leader. Grafindel 142.4, 42.3 by Baxo, so Baxagame looking quick again. Engange 143.4, 143.3 for SPM Noddy Racer, and a 143.2 for Renault. So Renault finally gets the better there, and only 2/10 faster there was Lazarus. So I'll tell you what, this really is going to be a 4-way battle. We know Lazarus is quicker round the middle part of this circuit, and you take a look on board as well, and you can see how quickly the Volvo reels in the Chevrolet in front of them, diving down into the bottom end of this circuit right now. Renault doing everything he can to catch the two Volvos in front, but to no avail currently. He really is struggling. It's not that he's going slowly, it's just that they're matching him, and Lazarus is going that little bit faster. You can see already now that Lazarus must be thinking about a potential way through, because that Chevrolet, not exactly the easiest pass time, is it? It's into a chicane, very wide, very big, very bulky. It's almost like the Bentley GT3 of the touring car field, very wide. Not many drivers do like getting involved with it because it's a real tricky task to make through. Luke Sky with an off retirement there. Now we don't usually see that. Luke's normally very persistent, very consistent. Lazarus almost consistently on the back of Renault there. We got the two Volvos battling just ahead as well. Keep an eye on those. In towards the final turn then, and we'll start lap number 10 very shortly. Naughty Racer has got a lot to give. Look at that now, Lazarus getting very up close and personal. We move to the inside, not quite yet, but two battles, you don't know where to look, do you? Up the inside, that's a very risky move through there. And I wasn't sure if he was going to try, but out the final chicane, he's got to run to the inside. Very aggressive driving here by Lazarus 16. Can he move to the inside? Not enough. Renault blocks over. Lazarus may have a sneak through the right-hander. He's positioned the Volvo well, but he's going to be running onto the curbs. Renault's going to carry more speed, and he's able to shut the door. Bear in mind that Chevrolet goes a bit too deep though. Swoops it round, and scary, scary moments for Renault. He's got another 3.5 more laps of this one. But it's the last thing he needs, and to make matters worse for both drivers, Max is only 2 seconds down the road, so he can still be a factor. The lights go on to try and intimidate the opponent. And just ahead, the two Volvos now starting to settle down. But bear in mind, this is not fun and games anymore. These two have become bitter rivals in a space of about a lap and a half. Lazarus again to the inside, fancies his chances because the elevation change. He's parked himself alongside. Bit of a nudge, true touring car racing there. And Lazarus 16 flies through. He's been, oh my goodness me, he's on two wheels. And I'm not too sure that's just because of how light the Volvo is. There's barely any contact, and now back up the inside again he goes. Over the start-finish line, lap number 11, and now look at Ragster join the battle. And suddenly, Renault, after losing a position, is in a Volvo sandwich. That'll be the last thing on his mind for sure. As Ragster looks to try and make it. I guess maybe like a KFC double down, because it's going to be all Volvo on top very sooner or later. The meat being taken right out. And now Ragster trying to push his way through. And still not quite getting it back. Side, maybe up the inside, and again Renault denies him, so now it's become a much more defensive drive. Like Lazarus says, cheers lads, I'll see you later. Now sets his sights on Enganche and Naughty Racer, who have been separated over the past couple of moments. Talking of separated, B13 now 2.9 seconds clear at the head of the field. Is Graham Findle in second, Baxo in P3. P4 is Dimitri Giannopoulos, P5 Mr. PA. 6 is Naughty Racer, Enganche P7. Oh, look at this, Renault and Ragster, both of them trying so hard to outdo the other. They're battling over 9th position now after Lazarus moved his way into 8th. And the penultimate lap of the race now well underway. The field clamber over the start-finish line. The adrenaline's going to really start kicking in now. B13 still heads the field at the moment, and it's looking almost certain that it will be the orange BMW taking a win. However, for the rest of the field, it's very jumbled as Rags has gone through Renault. And Renault's just gone very wide in the Chevrolet, had no response whatsoever. And he's now going to try and cut his way back through and utilise the power of the Chevrolet Cruise to get in a position where he can be in cruise control. However, it's going to be much harder than it seems. The track favours those defending compared to those attacking. Lazo, Engange, Noddy, Mr. PA, Dimitri, Maxo and Graufinkel. So Graufinkel with the lights on, maybe trying to throw off the opponents around him. But on to the final lap of the race then, and it's not just the final lap of the race, but the final lap of this midweek World Touring Car Championship. And whilst we've seen some thrills, spills and just about everything else in between, it's going to end much calmer than what we saw in the past. Of course, a photo finish a few days ago. The midweek races for the heats as intense as ever, with drivers being separated so little as well going into the event, and qualifying ever enticing as well. And Engange looks like he's slowing down, in all honesty. That's not looking too good for him. I mean, Lazarus could well take 7th position from him if he's not careful. Renault down to 10th now. He's going to be feeling pretty dismal after that display. Bearing in mind they won't be racing this on Sunday. And towards the back end of the circuit goes B13 once again then. So what a drive it's been for the BMW pair. They got such a good launch off the line at the start of the race. Max Gaber immediately dropping down. The BMWs just seem to have the starts absolutely nailed. A star for commitment off the line for B1386. The whole race has been worthy of an A star as he rounds the final corner to end his midweek World Touring Car Championship in style. As Zandvoort reverse to see out the championship, will be B1386 that lead the field off into the sunset. Graufinkel will take 2nd place. 3rd place will be Max Gaber 57. 4th, Dimitri Giannopoulos. 5th place will be Mr. PA. 6th place then for Noddy Racer. And look at this, out of the final corner come the two Volvos side by side. Engange tries to hold on. Lazarus giving it everything he's got. He opens up, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Engange just take it in the end. So Engange takes 7th, Lazo 8th, Raxton 9th, 10th place for Renault, and he will be disappointed. 11th Tomcat, 12th Diamondback, 13th WTTN M1, and 14th Luke Sky 80. So what a race that was then to close out our midweek World Touring Car Championship. Again, don't forget that there is no broadcast this Sunday. That's because of the rescheduling here at Simraceway to see us into the final period of the year. Often the most exciting and sometimes the most adventurous. We'll see what Simraceway can do in terms of championships. One thing's for sure, I cannot wait. Thank you to our cameraman as ever, Dimitri, for providing us a brilliant broadcast, to all of the drivers who've entered the heats, the race, and done everything they can to provide us such a spectacle here on the official Simraceway YouTube channel, and to our events manager, Kosako, as always, for creating such a brilliant championship and for giving these drivers the stage to show off their attributes and to show off their skills into the final, to the last couple of days of October. From myself, Liam Jenkins, I'll see you soon.